Hey guys, Chastity and Greg here to break down episode 7 of Star Trek Picard.
This episode is titled Nepenthe, and of course, warning, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the episode yet, get out of here, go watch it, and then come on back. Let's do this.
Alright, first we flash back to Commodore O and Agnes Jurati talking at the Daystrom Institute in Okinawa. This is 3 weeks ago, before present day.
With those shades.
O has been keeping tabs on Agnes and tells her the Federation wanted Agnes to join Picard on his off-world mission. We learn that it was Commodore O that showed Agnes what she wishes she hadn't seen. She performs a mind meld with Agnes to show her what she claims will happen if synthetic life is allowed to exist.
My mind to your mind. My thoughts to your thoughts.
So we don't get the full picture, but we get a lot of flashes and fragments. They happen very quickly. Sure, these are O's beliefs of what's to come, but they're not set in stone, right?
I don't think so.
This is just what she's thinking. She's showing it to Agnes. Yeah. But apparently, it's enough to convince Agnes to do whatever she's told. O makes Agnes eat a tracking device and tells her she must make a terrible sacrifice, which we can probably assume is killing Maddox.
Also, that little blue tracking device that Commander O gave to Jurati, it reminds me of the one that Spock gave to Uhura back in Star Trek Beyond.
But its unique signature makes it very easy to identify.
You gave your girlfriend a tracking device.
That was not my intention.
Back to present day, La Sirena is stuck in a tractor beam, locked to the artifact. Meanwhile, on the artifact, Hugh is in Narissa's crosshairs and she starts killing off XPs as she demands to know where Picard and Soji are. Hugh is distraught and Narissa tells him by helping the synths he may have doomed 1 trillion souls across the galaxy. Now, she doesn't immediately kill Hugh because of the Federation treaty.
Next, Narek takes a small Romulan ship in pursuit of Picard and Soji. Narissa releases the tractor beam on La Sirena so Narek can follow them. And remember, Agnes can be tracked. Rios tells Elnor, who is still on the artifact, that it's time to go. But Elnor tells them to go without him as his help is needed by Hugh and the XPs.
Next, Picard and Soji arrive on Nepenthe, a very green planet full of trees and even bunnies. They first encounter Kestra, who we find out is the daughter of Will Riker and Deanna Troi. Picard tells Kestra that Soji's father was Commander Data, which causes Kestra to ask Soji if she's an android.
You're an android?
So Soji freaks out, thinks her whole life is fake, and I think Picard probably should have paced this a little better and given her a heads up before just springing this on her.
And then right from there, he tells her that, oh, don't worry, your sister was real. Oh, by the way, she's dead.
Then Picard is reunited with Deanna Troi. In TNG, Commander Troi served under Picard as the ship's counselor on the USS Enterprise-D and E. Deanna is half Betazoid, half human. She's capable of extrasensory empathy, which is how she immediately knows Picard is in trouble.
You're in trouble. How bad?
And then we get the reunion we've all been waiting for, Picard and Riker.
Hello, Will. Oh man.
As you probably know, William Riker served as Picard's first officer aboard the Enterprise-D and E for many years before he was promoted to captain of the USS Titan. Picard and Riker became very good friends over the years. Picard was Riker's best man at his wedding, and Picard named his dog after his nickname for Riker, Number 1.
I suggest we beam a section aboard for analysis.
Make it so, Number 1.
After they greet, Riker quickly realizes that Picard is there because he needs to hide. He activates shields and perimeter scans on his property, and Picard suggests anti-cloaking scans too. Troi joins them and says she can't read Soji and senses nothing from her, even though she appears fully human. Picard tells them Soji's life is in danger, but he doesn't quite have a plan. Riker and Troi offer their support.
Kestra is fascinated with Soji. She befriends her and gets to know her. Kestra points out that it was weird for her to have mucus.
And saliva.
But she says that that's something Data would do because he was trying to be more human.
Then Deanna brings Picard to her late son's room. He asks her about a foreign language Kestra was speaking, and it turns out it was invented by Deanna's son, Thad. We learned that Thad would have been 18.
I'm not as brave as I used to be, Jean-Luc.
Then you're getting wiser.
Back on La Sirena, Rios and Raffi realize that someone is tailing them. Rios suspects that it's a small scout ship, a Romulan snakehead to be precise, and it has a massive firepower for its size. While Rios attempts to shake him, Agnes starts having reservations about following Picard and Soji, and she says she wants to go home. So Raffi offers to calm her down a little bit with some cake. I think just meant they're gonna smoke or something.
Yeah.
Is it cake? You bet it's cake.
Back on Nepenthe, Picard is worried about Rios and he's still keeping Riker in the dark on his mission. That mildly sets off Riker and he responds with,
just thinking how great it would be if ignorance of danger was all it took to keep it away from the people we love.
Kestra and Soji join the two, and it seems Soji has already mastered the Vivine language in a matter of minutes. Of course, this piques Riker's curiosity.
Now from there, Riker notices that Soji does the Data head nod, and he starts to put all the pieces together.
He figures out that Picard is running from the Tal Shiar and Soji is an android made from Data's DNA. And he calls Picard's secret classic Picard arrogance. He's wary of Picard's mission since he's dealing with a teenager this time around.
From there, Troi and Soji have a one-on-one convo, and we learn what happened to Riker and Troi's son, Thaddeus. He was born in space, and when their son got sick, they came to the planet Nepenthe. He had mandaxis neurosclerosis, which was very rare. It turns out it was completely curable with an active positronic matrix, but due to the synth ban after the Mars attack, he couldn't receive one.
Afterwards, Troi essentially has a therapy session with Soji. Soji has major trust issues after the events of the artifact, and Picard isn't helping at all, as he's taking her tragic situation a bit too casually.
Whoa! Hey!
And Troi immediately scolds him for it.
Yes, this has a little bit to do with the fact that Picard is uncomfortable around children, as we already know, and the fact is not only is this a child, this is also an android.
I need to be...
You need to be Jean-Luc Picard. Compassionate, patient, curious.
Back on the artifact, he was planning to save the XPs and take the cube away from the Romulans. Unfortunately, Narissa was watching everything and a battle ensues.
Now, Elnor takes out the guards and then goes one-on-one with Narissa for maybe like 2 seconds, because Narissa then immediately pulls out a dagger and throws it right into Hugh's throat.
Before he dies, Hugh tells Elnor that he'll need an XP to activate the Queen Cell.
I doubt he's just going to find some random XP or Borg to help him with the Queen Cell, so it looks like Seven's going to come back and play here.
Back on La Sirena, Raffi tries to calm down Agnes the best she can. Agnes's actions with Maddox is causing her extreme stress, and she's starting to grow nervous, knowing that Narek is on their tail because she has a tracking beacon in her. She's having a bad time. She throws up the cake. She's just a mess.
She threw up at least, I think, 3 times in this episode. She threw up after the Mind-Meld, too. Back on Nepenthe during dinner, the gang figures out Picard's next move after Soji explains her dream and the location she described to Narek about the 2 red moons. Picard tries to gain Soji's trust by telling her a story of her father, Data. Picard explains that he was haunted by his past and he wasted his life away. But now he feels alive and he'll see this mission through no matter what.
Kestra finds Soji's homeworld thanks to her friend, and it's in the Vite sector. The planet doesn't have a name, only a number. Back on La Sirena, Rios tells Agnes that he thinks Raffi is the reason Narek keeps tracking them. At this point, Agnes realizes that she must act fast, and she injects herself with something that takes care of O's tracking system, but it puts her in a coma.
Picard and Riker share one last heart-to-heart as La Sirena approaches the planet, and we learn that Riker is on active reserve with Starfleet, so he could return under the right circumstances. I get it, they put that line in there about Riker returning at some point in the future.
Which means he will.
Yes, and it has something to do possibly with his family. I hope nothing happens to Kestra, but I can totally see it going down now where Kestra gets the disease as well, and they need to find a synth, and now he's gonna join Picard for season 2.
This poor family. Kestra tells Soji that she's going to miss her and tells her she has Picard by her side to help her. Finally, Kestra gives Soji her broken compass and hugs her goodbye. Then Picard and Soji beam up to La Sirena.
And then you can hear the chimes play just for a second as they beamed up, and I almost lost it.
Now on to things we noticed and Easter eggs. At the beginning of the episode, Commodore O performs a Vulcan Mind-Meld. We've seen the Mind-Meld performed on multiple occasions in every Star Trek series. The meld allows for an exchange of thoughts between 2 individuals, enabling the participants to share a consciousness and become one mind. A Mind-Meld can come with a few side effects, as on one occasion when Spock melded Kirk from the Kelvin timeline and there was a transfer of emotion.
In the episode, Picard makes a remark about his replacement heart.
Might want to point that thing at my head. My heart is solid duritanium.
For a little backstory, shortly after graduating from the Academy, Picard's Starfleet career damn near ended abruptly during a layover at Starbase Earhart. Picard and his buddy Cortan Zweller would wind up in a bar brawl with a group of Nausicaans after rigging a game of Domjot. The ensuing fight would leave Picard with an artificial heart.
Agnes mentions a Gormagander. Gormaganders are rare to come by. As of 2256, the space whale was on the endangered species list. We recently saw the creature in Star Trek Discovery after the crew came across a female Gormagander which appeared to be injured, so they transported it aboard the ship. It turned out to be a giant trap set by Harry Mudd to take over the USS Discovery.
Kestra makes references to Data when she asks Soji about herself.
Do you play the violin? No. Do you like Sherlock Holmes? I guess so. Can you run super fast and jump really high and And bend steel with your hands?
Now, Data played the violin and has been shown during TNG performing for the crew. Data was also a fan of Sherlock Holmes and recreated Holmes' mysteries on the holodeck.
Data? That's incredible. How can you play it like that?
Merely throwing myself into the part, Watson.
And of course, Data sets himself apart from his crew with his inhuman agility, speed, and strength.
Later, when Kestra tells Soji more about Data, she says all he wanted to do was have dreams and tell jokes and learn how to ballroom dance. We've mentioned before how Data started dreaming in the TNG episode Birthright Part 1. Also, Data made many attempts at humor over the years, but struggled with it. As for dancing, Data took lessons from Beverly Crusher.
Stop, Data.
Okay, that's it for us over here. Make sure to subscribe and let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments down below.
And be sure to come back next week for episode 8. Only a few left.
Oh, all right, it's all good. Bye-bye.